Thank you. So about, I'd say, 12 years ago, probably 13 years ago, I was in a similar venue here talking about the age of the digital consumer. And I was talking to a lot of folks who do a lot of spend in print and television, so on and so forth. And then I was so excited about 28 million broadband users. Today, this is a different level, guys. We're talking about 1.1 billion connected devices that are always on. So this is the new era. This is the mobile consumer age. So what you see here is the number of events. That's in trillion that Flurry is tracking. A trillion of anything is a big number. But what this is a reflection of how fast this industry is growing. And on its way, it's kind of like a hurricane that is destroying or reinventing industries, entire industries that have been around for decades and centuries. So from music to gaming, to media and entertainment, to social networking. I mean, when you look at social networking, people thought the market was closed. Facebook and Twitter owned it. Today, there's 150 million images shared on Snapchat. Fred talked about, dozens of messaging apps with 20, 30 million users together. Vine did not exist 6 months ago, and now it is kind of the new sexy 6-second format. So it has replaced the 60-minute format from CBS. It became the 6-second tell your story in 6 seconds. And then retail. Fred talked about a lot of innovation in commerce. I'm going to talk about it at the end, but that's a space we're seeing massive amount of traction. It feels like shopping time has become all the time, so we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So if you look at this industry, and in 4 years, it's challenging America's pastime television. So the number here suddenly disappeared, but it is actually in green. It's about 2 hours of time that's spent by consumer on a daily basis. When you break it into what people are doing, yes, it's true. Games, are taking a good chunk of time from consumers on a daily basis. And what you see here, it feels like the app world has taken over the browser world. And if you look at Facebook, on its own, it's about 18% of the consumer time. And if you look at what people do on Facebook, whether it's sharing an image, communicating, or actually looking at a newsfeed, you might say that Facebook owns the browser. It has become the most used browser. So a lot of time is being spent on mobile devices and throughout the day. But one thing we wanted to talk about today is kind of give you a peek into the day of a mobile consumer. And we cut it in a day part, and as you can see, there's no breakfast time, there's no daytime, there's no nighttime, there's no bedtime. It has become app time. We're seeing folks shopping at 4 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. We're calling it bedtime shopping. The couple is sitting in the bed and choosing things, maybe a new design within reach couch. It's amazing. I mean, gaming, social. We see every aspect of their lives is being shared 24/7, 365. I mean, people are concerned about privacy and a lot of things, but they're sharing everything. As in, like, you are so transparent, you walk on the street, you think you know everybody. And you think everybody knows you because you're sharing your entire life. Media and entertainment. We talked, I think there was a conversation before about catering it to the 2-minute experience. Media and entertainment, is happening on tablets and happening on phones. And it does look like the tablet has become the television set of the bedroom. So throughout the day, we're seeing massive amount of content consumption on devices. So that's across the entire population. But if you look at the young adults, the 25 to 34, which is, they have one of the highest disposable income. And that's the segment that a lot of the marketers, a lot of you in the room, target. You look at what they're doing. They're over-indexing, compared to the population on sports, health and fitness, music, media, and entertainment, as well as lifestyle and shopping. They're under-indexing in games, news, and then, utilities and productivity. Now you go and break that down between males and females of that demographic, and you see that the females are driving the sports, health, and fitness category. Well, I guess us males would filling our bellies playing Angry Birds. But it's very interesting to see that health and fitness, that you're doing with your device, is dominated by females, the young adult females. And we talk a lot about the age of wearables, and there's Google Glass coming, there's a rumored wrist device coming from Apple. I'd say the age of wearable is here, because this data is telling us that consumers are wearing their phones. They are wearing their tablets. You are not letting this device away from your body. And that's a phenomenal opportunity and a privilege to us marketers to create an engaging channel with our consumers. So if you look at revenue, Fred touched upon this a little bit. There's amazing amount of growth in mobile advertising and the sales of digital goods, of things that do not exist, that you cannot touch. They're ephemeral in nature. So it has gotten to about a $20 billion industry. And if you look at it, I want to compare this to the growth of the web. And you can see a trajectory from 1996. And where we are today feels like 1997 in the web era. But the growth is much faster. It's kind of like you've taken the internet industry and you put it on fast forward. So 2013, we expect that digital advertising, display advertising, and virtual goods will overtake the web in terms of revenue. But it's not just like fun and games. It's not just digital goods. Physical goods sales have skyrocketed last year. 257% growth year over year of retailers that are selling their goods in mobile applications. 4.2 billion. Fred did say also that eBay, they did disclose the number, 16 billion done in mobile applications. So the online marketplaces, so $22 billion and 147% growth year over year. So it's not just, Angry Birds and fake swords and power-ups and what have you. It is the entire, shopping experience kind of have moved to the mobile devices. So you look at the growth, and year over year, there's no question that social has grown the fastest. The entire industry grew 132%. What is interesting, gaming under-indexed. So the device is broadening up in terms of consumption. Media and entertainment grew 268%, and then shopping 247%. So year-over-year growth. So I want to spend time talking about those two segments and then what's going on with them. Look at media and entertainment. There's two interesting things that we see. The first one is the studios have a lot of great content, TV shows that are not aired, that are not on a cable channel. So they've taken that content and gone direct to consumers with these devices. So we all hear about, the American edge to cut the cord and, being ripped off by cable companies and what have you. There's a revolution here. People are taking content going straight to consumers. And in cases charging for it, in cases not charging for it. So we see 20% of the time spent in those applications that are taking content from the studio straight to the consumers. The second one are the networks themselves. It does look like the tablet and the smartphone have become the largest cable companies in America. And that trend is going to continue, and it's actually going to expand because the infrastructure cost has happened. You walk out of an Apple store or you walk out of an AT&T or a Verizon store, you got more bandwidth than what a cable company can give you. And that takes 5 minutes. While waiting for a cable guy to show up is so annoying that you might as well go to the store, get yourself another tablet, and then you're connected. So we see an amazing amount of shift in terms of media consumption on devices like these. And then you look at, we all look at prime time. That's the time when we all, try to buy the most amount of advertising. And you look at the Flurry data, of those media applications, and it freakishly looks like television. It's amazing. In terms like the distribution or the reach during prime time, as if the curves like line up. And there's some data here from Michael Zimbalist, who will be doing the closing keynote tonight about TV. It's amazing. It is very clear to us that the tablet is the television. The Apple does not even need to ship a TV that you can plug on the wall. The TV is there. It's just small screen. I mean, if they just blow it up and put a couple of screws, and then you're done. I mean, maybe a better remote control, but it's there. It's already here. You look at commerce. One thing, we look at shopping, and we see a very interesting trend. We're calling it the rise of the app and more economy, in which retailers, whether it's furniture stores, apparel, or any type of retail, they are sick and tired, of being Amazon's showroom. Well, people come in, look at the item, they try it, they harass the salesperson, and then they go back home, type it, buy it from Amazon. So it's as if like the entire brick and mortar economy has become the unpaid sales reps of Amazon. We're seeing a rebellion here. They're out. What they've done is they built great app experiences that have taken shopping, all the way to the pocket of the consumer, and they're making the consumer shop all the time. Whether on the couch, as they walk, the 2-minute experience that I think Gil talked about, all the way when they are in the store, and the device has become the shopping assistant. You can't find your size and color? Tuck, 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 3 buttons. You're in the store, you zap the product. I can get it to you next day, delivery, free of charge. You haven't lost the sale, because the impulse sales, you walk into a store and, hey, somebody likes a $300 pair of Prada shoes and you don't have your size, I'm not going to buy it. But if you have the app, tuck, 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 you buy it. And 27%, of time spent is in actually retail applications. Online marketplaces, which have created this digital commerce, has, dropped, in terms of usage year over year. So now let's look at usage pattern, and I always love these charts because there's so many stories, that could be extracted out of this. So looking at all age groups and when men and women shop, you can see men are very bursty. They consider shopping as a duty. Like 9 a.m., they go in, do something. I think Gil talked about the noon phenomenon. I think it's after a meal. I mean, if you look at it, like well-fed, they go do shopping. While women consider shopping as entertainment. It is media and entertainment for women. And then you have that spike towards the end, what I'm calling bedroom shopping, in which the curves align. Well, of course, they're sitting in the same bed. So, of course, they're doing it together, which is very interesting. But the interesting thing I want to know, why are they doing it with a different device? Why don't they come closer together, look at one tablet? They're actually doing it on their own device. Did you see this? Did you see this? Oh, you want to buy this? You want to buy this? It's very interesting. So, but then if you zoom in on the young adults, 25 to 34 age group, you see a different pattern. You see that, the females are doing most of their shopping in prime time. So as a TV advertiser, you still have a phenomenal opportunity to impact the buying behavior, in which television gives the message, the mobile device closes the sale. That's a very interesting thing. Well, the males, nah, they're not doing any shopping during prime time. Then you go to the 35 to 54 generation. That is the TV generation. And you look at it during prime time, both males and females are doing shopping. So you do have the opportunity for the mobile device to become the first screen, to become the point of sale terminal, to become the shopping assistant, and a huge, huge complementary or device to any TV advertising. So that's a very interesting phenomenon that is occurring, that prime time is shopping time. And you do have the opportunity for the first time to communicate with the consumer while they're shopping. Take a look at this data. A lot of people thought that mobile is just last mile shopping. They've made the decision they're going to mobile to close the transaction. Well, our data suggests that mobile, has taken over the entire shopping funnel. So 62% of shoppers are spending 5 to 20 minutes browsing, shopping, window shopping, tablet shopping, smartphone shopping before they close a transaction. What does this mean? You have 20 minutes to impact a sale. That's more what the average American consumer spends in a sitcom, where most or a good chunk of TV advertising goes. So you have 20 minutes of time to impact the shopper. Whether you're a CPG, whether you're a retailer, you have a great opportunity. And that opportunity is in front of us. So there's a lot of things that are changing, a lot of things. Every day we wake up at Flurry and we're blessed with new developers building exciting experiences. We look at the apps and we say, this is going to be a big one. And then 6 months later, you hear they got $1 billion valuation, $100 million funding. And then you look at it, 30 million consumers later, we see it. We see a lot of innovation. But one thing is very, very clear. The consumer behavior on mobile is changing. It's very different than television, but very, very different from digital and the desktop. The fact that this device is with you, the fact that this device is very personal, the entire experience is changing. So I think we're going to get into a stage in which cross-platform is going to become television, tablet phones, and the desktop is going to be less of a marketing device that it has been. It is very clear that, to us, mobile is more an extension of television. It will become television, or television will become mobile, or vice versa, and the desktop is going to be sidelined as a marketing device. So that's the data we have today that we'd like to share with you, and I'm being told that I should take some Q&A. So before that, I'd like to thank you, and I'm happy to take some Q&A. Thank you. Questions?
Hey, Simon.
Hey, Craig.
Greg Stewart from the MMA. So you guys have been tracking the data about app usage. Is there anything in the data that you're able to make predictions about where that goes, either at what point it surpasses TV, or even better yet, at what point, is it double TV, if it can go that far? Can you tell in any way what the limit is?
Yeah, well, the growth is fascinating. I mean, we're seeing about 12.7% compounded monthly growth rate. And a lot of that growth is coming from countries in which the smart device is the only consumer electronic device. It's the radio. So we're seeing massive growth. I think we put a blog post on it on Monday, in China, in India, Indonesia, Myanmar. So there's a lot of growth there. Inside mature markets, the growth is less than that. But yes, I think in about 18 months, I did the projection back in October, and I think my prediction was end of 2014, if the growth continues, is when you see an equal time between TV and apps based on, but not using Nielsen's data, it's using the US Labor Bureau of Statistics in terms of TV consumption, which is not just their Nielsen's panel. So end of 2014. Any other questions? Great. Thank you, guys.
I had a question for you.
Sure.
Just a question about the slide with the how much time is spent before someone makes a purchase. Is there a way to, have you guys monitored why it takes so long before they make a purchase? Is that an actual opportunity to reduce the time spent before they make a purchase? So is it more of a design thing, or is it they like spending time browsing around in there? Any sort of usage behavior?
Yeah, it's the latter. It's the latter. It's not. It's more of a shopping experience. So there's a lot, like the daily deal activity. Once that people look at that deal specifically, they enter what I call a shopping track. They're on the shopping treadmill. So daily deal gets them in, and then the rest is typical shopping behavior. They look at other stuff, as if they're walking down the aisles and picking things, looking at sale signs. It's a shopping behavior versus a horrible design that is not driving the consumer into a sale. It's more the shopping behavior.
And just to follow on then on that, is
Sure.
there any sort of time where you see there's too much time spent and now they've just, there's user fatigue and they don't wind up purchasing something?
I don't have a specific data point on that. I don't know. I'll research it.
Thank you.
Sure. Is there another question here? Yeah.
You showed the difference in behavior related to time of day. Are you also seeing a shift on day of the week based on mobile versus non-mobile?
Yeah, great question. And you know, one of the things that happened to us is because of the shift to international, like the weekend is no longer the weekend in terms of the Flurry data. Like right now, we used to peak in terms of usage on the Saturday. Right now, we're peaking around end of day Friday because you know China is a big chunk of the usage. But if you look at the U.S. only, there's absolutely a peak during the weekend, and I've looked at the segments that peak the most. So sports, entertainment, and gaming peak over the weekend. Everything else, I mean, social is like a flat line. It's the same consumption throughout the week. Yeah. Oh.
Hi. Hi. The death of TV has been projected for years. Do you feel that mobile is different this time and that it will actually dethrone TV, or do you think it's a complement and they can be used together to benefit each other?
I think the latter. Television works and TV advertising works. No one gets fired for buying TV ads. And you look at it, you ask yourself the question, how many Google ads do you remember? None. But all of us can recite, you know, all the cereal commercials. So that's how you measure an impression and a brand. For branding, it's good. But I think TV and tablets and smartphones will become one. So I think desktop is going to be sidelined. Desktop and print are going to go their own way because the web looks like a butt ugly magazine. I mean, you can't tell the difference between Craigslist and Google, right? I mean, Flipboard is a great magazine experience. It looks like a European magazine that has a lot of nice pictures and a lot of art put in it. So Google and search is very effective advertising for bottom of the funnel. TV is great for top of the funnel. And there's a panel later talking about where mobile fits. I think mobile is going to have a great extension to television to do middle of the funnel, in which you have a great 6-second or whatever second you want to call it, branding opportunity in which there's character affinity, and then it can also drive a sale right after that. For example, you know, it's easy to have Jennifer Aniston wear a Prada boot, you know, and show it in 6 seconds, and hey, go to the Prada store and buy. So branding and transactional combined together will become the sweet spot of the smartphone. On the tablet, I think it's going to become based on the application. The media and entertainment are going to follow TV. Print type or content type experiences are going to follow print. But I think, you know, I'm definitely not predicting the death of television. I'm predicting, you know, a reincarnation of TVs. They just unplugged from the wall and then made portable. I mean, there was a portable television, 13-inch, that you carry and put in the kitchen. I mean, some of it is next to the microwave in the 80s. And I think it's the same thing that's happening here.
Thanks.
I think. Oh, there's one more.
One more question? Okay.
Hi, this is Siyun Fan from Yahoo. I actually have a question regarding that chart out there. Did you actually measure those purchases after the mobile app engagement? Are they making a purchase online on the mobile, or they
No, this is
in-store?
transaction completed inside the mobile application. We did not measure. This is not time spent in mobile and then tied to whether they hopped over to the web or went to the store and closed the sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's follow-up question for that is, what do you see mobile application stands in the whole purchase funnel? Is it upper funnel? Is it lower funnel? Is more like
Sure.
in-store, in-house purchase?
Yeah.
Or like where mobile
So
should
good
sit?
question. So it depends on the design of the app. It could be the entire funnel, right? Or it could be the up of the funnel in which they do the browsing. And if the call to action, it depends on what the app does. It might send you to the store. You know, and again, a lot of retailers want foot traffic because in e-commerce, you only buy one item. Well, if you go to the store, you end up buying 3 or 4, and you don't realize why. But you know, there's definitely a lot of apps that do recognize that you are in the store and act differently. Like I'll point you, for example, to the Saks app. You know, if you're zapping or you're scanning an item, it does recognize you're in the proximity of an item versus you're away from the item, and it acts differently. Walmart has done a very good job as well, and I think CVS and Walgreens have done the same thing. They do recognize somehow you're in the store based on what you do, and they act differently, so they become shopping assistant versus take over the entire funnel.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Actually, sorry, one last question. So it's just my personal opinion that I don't think mobile by itself would be a successful marketing channel. It has to be integrated with all other channels. And then there's a technical difficulty right now that you can track and identify the same user across different platforms. So like from your standpoint, do you think that there's any point maybe Flurry can develop some kind of technology or tracking all these different behaviors across tablet to mobile and PC, which is kind of big questions coming from advertiser and ad agency?
Sure. No. So cross-platform is a key thing, right? I mean, again, one of the advent of mobile is that it can give you the 360. So, I mean, there's another like elephant in the room. Tracking between a tablet and a phone is also cross-platform. And then you have tablet, TV, smartphone. So, yes, I mean, there's a lot of folks from the agency world here, and you know, I'd like to learn from them if there's a trend to break the silos and do integrated campaigns. Yes, there's no question that there's a lot of benefit if you integrate these things. But again, it depends on the call to action. I mean, like in the late 90s, you know, we were talking about digital. Half of the people, you know, thought digital was taking print and digitizing, creating an Adobe Photoshop, you know, version of the ad. They're running half fold or full fold and dump it on online. Yeah, and those guys failed. I think Fred had a great point that no one has discovered the mobile ad experience, not format. What's the call to action? I think we're working on it. We have a lot of good ideas, but we haven't figured it out. So my point is, depending on the call to action, you might not have to integrate everything. Keep it simple, right? But there is definitely efforts we're doing about working with a couple of companies that were mentioned before about being able to demonstrate that a mobile campaign has driven in-store sales. That's something we are working on. So the other thing, you know, I would say is, I think if you're going to consider mobile an extension of digital and shove a banner, you know, or a search ad out of context in front of people's face, I think people are going to fail. Because the consumer behavior, in my opinion, is the most important thing that's going to drive the call to action. And I can guarantee you, with 100% confidence, the consumer behavior on mobile is very different than the behavior on the desktop. So it's not about, and I think the Waze acquisition is a brilliant acquisition by Google because that's the entry point into search. It's not, people are not searching as they used to from the browser. They're going into the experience and searching from it. And Maps is a very important entry point to mobile. So I think you should consider the potential of mobile to be different than the potential of digital.
Great. Thank you very much, Simon.
Thank you so much.